Hi, I'm Lance Pizzariello, and this is the Sustainability Club, a channel that I've just opened up. And we thought we'd start things off with just giving you, the public and our watchers, a clear understanding of what sustainability and sustainable development really mean. I'm Lance, the founder of the Sustainability Club, that, amongst other things, is dedicated to bringing meaningful information to the public to help individuals and families achieve their sustainability goals. I've got a plethora of education, not that I feel too special about it, but it does qualify me in the field that I speak of. Started things off as a civil engineer, studied in Alberta, and then went to Ottawa and took my biochemistry. And just recently, the last 5 years, I've achieved my master's level degree in sciences, which had a focus on sustainable development. It's been a 24-year career, and it was practiced in many places from Central America, enjoying sustainable surf waves in Costa Rica all the way up to the North Pole and alert. Through this program, we're going to provide definitions, how sustainability works, the objectives of sustainable development, the pillars of sustainable development, goals, the importance of it, examples of sustainable development in practice today, barriers and challenges, provide conclusions and references. The term sustainable development first came to prominence in the World Conservation Strategy in 1980. It achieved a more brilliant status with the publication 1985 entitled North and South, a Program for Survival and Common Crisis. And then followed previously with a book called The Common Future. Later on in the mid-1990s, it gained an even greater attention since the United Nations Conference on the Environment and Development that was held in Rio de Janeiro in 1992. Over those many years, sustainable development carried a few different definitions. It has been clearly defined in recent years, though, and is defined as an approach to the economic development of a country, or really the world, without compromising the quality of the environment for future generations. In the name of economic development, the price of environmental damage is paid in the form of land degradation, soil erosion, and water pollution. Other forms, deforestation. This damage may surpass the advantages of having a more quality output of goods and services. So how does sustainability really work? Sustainability encourages businesses to frame decisions in terms of the environmental, social, and human impacts for the long term rather than the short term. It influences them to consider more factors than simply the immediate profit or losses involved in transactions. Increasingly, companies have issued sustainability goals, such as commitments to zero waste packaging by a certain year, or to reduce overall emissions by a certain percentage, and again at a certain time. These companies can achieve their sustainability needs by cutting emissions, lowering their energy uses, sourcing the products from fair trade organizations, and ensuring their physical waste is processed properly and with as small a carbon footprint as possible. So, in essence, the objectives of sustainable development are economic growth, gotta feed the kids, environmental protection, we gotta show them how to enjoy the world's beauties in parks and in our forests, mountains, and the ocean, and through social inclusion. Everybody should fairly have education, a right to health care, a right to justice, and a right to enjoy the planet in which we all live in. And with that being said, we could look at pillars, and three specifically, of sustainable development. That being social, environmental, and economical. To achieve these goals, the United Nations has developed 17 what we call SDGs, or Sustainable Development Goals. They're laid out in front of you, and if you were to Google Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations, you would quickly get brought to a station that would provide you clear definitions of all of their 17 goals, which are developed to primarily serve and objectively reach the three pillars of environmental sustainable development. What is the importance of sustainable development? Well, for one, it provides essential human needs. The explosion of population means people will have to scramble for the limited life essentials like food, shelter, and water. Adequate provision of these basic needs almost entirely hinges on the infrastructure capable of sustaining them for a long time. If governments insist on utilizing fossil fuels, well, that energy instead of renewable sources and sustainable options, the cost of the environmental effects supplying these basic needs becomes a very tall order and challenging thing to meet. Well, secondly, we look at agricultural requirements. Our growing population means that agriculture must catch up. Finding ways to feed more than 3 billion people can be a staggering thought. If the same unsustainable cultivation, planting, irrigation, spraying, and harvesting techniques are to be utilized in the future, they're going to prove to be financially burdening considering the fossil fuel resources are projected to run out. Sustainable development focuses on sustainable agricultural methods, such as effective seeding techniques and crop rotation, to promote high yields while maintaining the integrity of the soil, which produces food for our large, growing concerned population. Thirdly, climate change can be mitigated by sustainable development practices. Sustainable development practices seek to reduce the use of fossil-based fuel sources like oil, natural gas, and coal. Fossil fuel sources of energy are unsustainable since they will be depleted in the future and are responsible for the emission of greenhouse gases, those nasties that are changing our environment. Financial stability, the fourth important reason for sustainable development. Sustainable development practices have the ability to create more financially sustainable economies across the globe. Developing countries that can't access fossil fuels can then leverage renewable forms of energy to power their economies. From the development of renewable energy technologies, these countries can create sustainable jobs as opposed to the finite jobs based on the boom and bust, like Alberta's fuel-based economy. Sustaining biodiversity, unsustainable development, and overconsumption practices greatly impact our biodiversity. The life ecosystem is designed in such a way that species depend on one another for survival. We're all connected. For instance, plants produce oxygen that humans need to breathe. Humans exhale carbon dioxide that plants need to grow and produce what they do, beautiful flowers and wonderfully tasting food. Unsustainable development practices like emissions from greenhouse gases in the atmosphere are going to kill many plant species, resulting in the reduction of atmospheric oxygen, amongst other things. Examples of sustainable development would include wind energy as one. Wind energy is the energy harnessed from the motion of wind using turbines and windmills. I'm sure you've seen them popping up around your countrysides and whatnot. Wind energy is a renewable source of energy, which means it's never ending and it can be used as a substitute energy at the grid. This makes a good sustainable development practice. Another example of sustainable development would be solar energy. This is the energy harnessed from the sun using solar panels. It's advantageous since it's absolutely free and its supply is infinite, relatively. These factors make it beneficial to the customers, and it's good for Mother Nature because it doesn't contribute to emissions of greenhouse gases. Another great example of sustainable development is green space. Green spaces are locations where plants and animals are left to flourish. Parks also fall into the category of green spaces. Green spaces provide people a remarkable opportunity to take the pleasure in the outdoor recreations. More so in the big cities where resting space is really hard to come by. I've always found I feel more spiritually connected and real when I'm out visiting with Mother Nature. I guess she is my mom. In the industry of agriculture, we could take a look at crop rotation as an example of sustainable development. In contrast, it is defined as the successive planting of different crops on the same land to improve soil fertility and help the control of insects and disease. This way of farming is not a new practice, but rather a more ancient way of farming, chemical-free, while maximizing the long-term growth of potential land. So it sounds pretty great. Pretty easy? Well, not so easy. There are some barriers that prevent sustainable development from happening. The first step is that many aspects of development using sustainable methods and materials is truly expensive in the front end, while the long-term cost of sustainability proves to be less than the traditional development means. The creation of a sustainable project may be far more expensive in the first phase or at the onset of the project. A second major barrier or issue is that there is not a generally accepted need for sustainable development. This is an education issue. Why I'm coming to you today. We need to understand these issues in order to resolve, and I know we all do want to resolve them. So in conclusion, I'd like to state a couple of things, maybe three. Sustainable development is largely about people and their well-being, and equity in their relationship with each other in contexts where natural societal imbalances can threaten economic and social stability. Too many examples of it already in this world. Because climate change, its drivers, its impacts, and its policy responses will interact with the economy, the production of services, human settlements, and human societies, climate change is likely to be the most significant factor in the sustainable development of many areas. Simply stated, climate change has the potential to affect many aspects of human development, positively or negatively, depending on the geographic location, the economic sector, and the level of economic and social development already attained. Well, I hope you found this information valuable, educational, and that your level of awareness for the environment has gone up a little bit. There's not only a few people that study this stuff that are going to affect change and the change we all need. It's you guys. And I don't think enough of us understand all of the issues. They're clouded with political agendas, economic agendas. The 1%ers really want to maintain their 1%. Anyways, I hope this information helps you and the 99% win this battle. We have to win it for the 1%ers too. You'll find in my upcoming videos or the club's upcoming videos further information that'll help you all make more well-informed decisions about your behavior, your purchasing practices, and how you enjoy this world so that we can continue enjoying it. I bless you all and thank you so much for your time. Positive energy. Treat your best friends better than you'd treat yourself. They'll probably treat you just as good.